Hey guys, I just got done with a pretty entertaining phone call. So I just got, you get random phone calls all the time from insurance agents, right? Everybody wants your business when it comes to insurance agents because it's just free money, right? I mean, the average person doesn't get in an accident and they don't get tickets, and even if they do, you get charged so much money that they do. Our insurance companies don't go out of business, right? They're built on fear and liability and victimized consciousness. I had actually had this conversation with the guy, but I was paying way too much for my homeowner's insurance, and so I was just like, yeah, because somebody had called me back a while back and they had not gone through, and this was an Allstate agent, right? So it was like $2,000 a year cheaper to go through Allstate from USAA. If you guys, I think I talked about USAA a while back on my channel. Um, and Anyway, if you don't pay an insurance company for a while and you try to get back on and you don't carry insurance, they just jab the crap out of you when it comes to auto insurance, especially. And so I just said, no, I don't want to use USAA because of that. And I actually had a long conversation with her on the phone about it. And then at first she got defensive because you want to believe that you're working for a company that really believes in the community. But then she started to understand my point. Um, Especially for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, when they first start out, aren't making any money, right? You jump out there and you have to kind of get your stuff together and then figure out how you're going to make some income. And a lot of times you have to just let stuff go, right? Every coach, every consultant out there will tell you the same story. I mean, a couple of coaches that I knew in the past, I mean, they talked about how they were down to their last dollar trying to push their home insurance, I mean, their even their mortgage payments out as far as they could to try and start making money. And then once they did, then they were able to But there's times when you just don't have it, and if the people that you try to go back to try and jab you in the arm because you couldn't afford to pay them, it's pretty dark, right? How is that community development in any way? It's not, right? You don't support the community by when they can afford to start supporting it again to make them more expensive because they couldn't before. Yeah, dark. Anyway. So I'm going off on tangents. But the point of the story was, uh, yeah, when we got on the phone because I'm dropping Progressive and going with Allstate, right, for car insurance. And I just got the minimum. I'm just like, just give me the minimum. I don't have a car payment. I don't care. I just need to show the police officer something in case I get pulled over. And even that is a what if, right? That's a little bit shady. Technically speaking, if you really believe that you're okay and you don't have any poor intent towards anybody and you know how to focus and stay on the road, what's insurance, right? If we lived in a really healthy society, we'd be living where if there was an accident, the community comes together to make things right. And sometimes people, yeah, are just behaving badly, but you're always attracting something for a reason, right? You have to believe that everything will be okay. Insurance isn't like that. Insurance is taught to make you just look out for yourself and just deny liability. That's why you gotta carry liability insurance. Anyway, I got on the phone with this guy. I can't remember his name, Brant or something, my Allstate agent. So he calls Progressive for me, so I can cancel my Progressive policy. And after we talked for a little while, pulled my policy up. She's like, so why did you decide to go with, to drop Progressive and go with whoever this was? And I told her, I said, well, he told me I'd be in good hands with Allstate. Those commercials, you're in good hands with Allstate. State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. There are so many commercials out there that have been ingrained in our minds, right? The Prudentials, The Rock. I don't even want to talk about the Geico commercials. Yeah, there's some commercials out there that they've been the same for 30 years, 40 years. A lot of them kind of came up in the 80s and 90s, and then they've stayed the same way. Insurance companies want to keep the same tagline to make sure that they're just rattling around in your head, right? Anyway, I had first class today, so we're going to pull cards here. Sorry for the rough intro there. If you were just looking for, what does this mean for me? We're going to pull cards today, but I want to talk about both sides of the coin when it comes to intuition and healing. And this is a message that I received earlier today, and this is the reason why I'm making this video. You're both creating and receiving. All of us are. We're both creating and receiving. Now, if all you're doing is receiving everything around you, it kind of turns into a pinball machine, right? You're not creating your own state of being. You want to make sure that you can create your own state of being, but also read what's going on around you, because the momentum will change, and we're witnessing the momentum change over time. As you're reading what's going on around you, you still want to be able to create your own state of being. So you're in your Queen of Swords energy, blocking that stuff off, and empathy is about being able to pick up what's going on, but at the same not being pulled into the momentum that it is, right? That the healing, when you're self-healed, you can still produce whatever kind of light you want, information and energy. I try to remind myself to call it light, because it's not energy. Energy is just one side of the coin. So we're receiving light, information and energy, and then providing light to illuminate what's happening, right? Expanding your psychic abilities. And so by pulling cards, a lot of times you get information that whoever's maybe watching this channel needs to hear, but at the same time, I need to be able to illuminate a path forward to get out of whatever momentum that we're seeing, right? A lot of times, and that's usually the purpose of reading cards in the first place. And sometimes, if you really pay attention, if you're looking at certain channels, it's trying to get you to move in the direction of the cards being pulled, right? Maybe not even reading what's going on. So in the group collective, there's quite a bit of, right? If there's a manipulating energy out there that's trying to manipulate the emotional states of people to pull energy from them, there's no co-creative development. It's just a feeding frenzy, just animals feeding off each other. And so the purpose of this channel has always been, and will always be, co-creative development. Now, co-creation can mean a lot of different things. We are co-creating no matter what. But what we're creating sometimes is exactly the same thing as we're receiving. And so we're falling into a feedback loop of the same momentum that's around us. In order to change the momentum, you have to block that energy, because it's unconscious, right? Because all it's doing is repeating the same momentum that's around us. So you still want to be able to read it and have empathy for it, but then change the momentum so that you're no longer we're all putting stuff out there so that people aren't falling into self-loathing and modes of consciousness or poor emotional states that just get reflected back into their environment that maybe they're absorbing, or we're absorbing at the same time. Right. Okay. Hope that helps. Oh boy, those just fell out right in the middle. So I'm just going to turn these over, see what we got. They're all upside down, but Joy Reunion, Morning, Great Bear, a Scary Doorway, right? So you're getting ready to go through a portal. There's something looking at you. Right. Maybe there's some mourning of maybe letting go of things. It's like, dang it, I didn't want to have to let go of that thing and go through that portal. But then there's Reunion, Joy, and Knight of Stones, the slow-moving energy, and then Abundance. What does that sound like to you guys? It sounds to me like and this is the same energy that, or the same light. I'm going to say light. I'm not going to say energy. I'm not going to follow the crowd and say the same thing everybody else said. Where's your energy? What's your vibration? They're one and the same. Or it's light, right? The vibration is moving energy. Anyway, there's a little bit of mourning about going through the portal before we have a reunion and joy and slow-moving energy towards abundance. That's the best kind of energy. It's slow-moving, right? Slow and steady wins the race. There's no reason to try and get out ahead of the crowd right from the start, right? Because once you get to a place of temperance and peace and steadiness with self, you don't need to be in any place at any one time, right? You know how to create your own state of being, regardless of what's going on around you. And so it's best to just enjoy galloping with all the rest of the animals in the forest. Right? Without a saddle. We don't want to be saddled. We are free horses flopping around, right? We're not saddled. And then we can go sit at the fire. I was listening to a reading the other day, and they were talking about how some of you guys are going to end up sitting at tables that you just do not sit at because there's a lot of emperors in reverse there, right? You know, too many people that maybe abuse. Right, because I mean, think about it. If you have a lot of material wealth, it'd be really easy to abuse people's fears and manipulate people because they just need what you have to offer. That's the danger of that, and that's why I believe so much in treating people equally. Because any temporary state of being is just that. It's not who we are. We are source that is both giving and receiving. But anything that's temporary is not you. And so here's a good mind trick to train your mind to not believe that you're, like a common saying is, I am sad. No. Say, I am creating sadness. And that's true on every level, regardless of if it's being projected at you. If somebody's projecting sadness at you and all you're doing is just reflecting that emotion, you're still creating it because you're not blocking it. You're not able to transmute that light that's coming at you into your own light. And so you won't burn brightly. That's how you burn brightly, is that all the unconscious energy coming at you is getting burned up. That's how a star works, right? That's how your solar plexus. Your solar plexus gets rid of unconscious stuff, and then it goes out the poo hole. Right? But the solar plexus does that. That's where your confidence, you're blocking out that stuff that's coming at you. But you're also, you don't have to, and you're transmuting it for other people as well, right? Because why would you, if somebody's sad, you want to pick them up. Say, hey, look, I understand and I respect your being sad, and I can give you time to rest if you need rest, and respect your time, but if you want to come have fun with me, I'm always here. Right? Some people need to be lifted up. Some people need to be left alone. Because, we want to respect our time to heal, too, right? Not force it, because forced healing sometimes is not healthy for anybody, because then we don't have to go through what we need to go through for ourselves, so that we gain awareness and understanding of all these things that I'm talking about today. So, love you guys. I hope this message found you at the right time for the right reasons, and we'll catch you on the next one. And if you need, what is it? I'm not going to say that you're in good hands with Allstate. That's just such BS, right? They just take your money. They're never going to lose money on you. And State Farm, they're not like a good neighbor, right? You don't pay a neighbor to help you in an emergency. The neighbor just comes over and helps you if you need help. It's not a good neighbor. It's an oxymoron, right? You never get the right message from people that just want your money. Anyway, love you guys. Have a good one.